Hi everyone, I'm Shagun Agarwal, preparing one more video for you on productivity because I received a lot of requests from users asking for simple tips to enhance their productivity level. Do you grab a cup of coffee as soon as you reach your office? Do you grab a cup of coffee the night before your exams? Coffee is a comfort giving beverage that really makes your energy level go up, and it is very useful for those long hours at office or at school. If you do have coffee for that energy boost, then this video is just for you. Because in this video, I'm going to share 4 ways in which you can adjust your coffee intake for maximum productivity. Please stay till the end of the video and watch all the 4 methods because you don't know what will work for you, what will not click for you. So, the first one is managing the amount of your coffee intake every day in terms of the amount of caffeine that you're consuming. It shouldn't exceed up to a certain level. If you do have coffee on a daily basis and it's part of your morning routine, then you are not alone. On an average, people consume 100 to 250 mg of caffeine every day. But as per the Food and Drug Administration, as per FDA, we should not consume more than 400 mg of caffeine every single day. But what is the reason for that restriction? Let's take a look. The caffeine present in coffee influences a neurotransmitter called adenosine in the brain. Adenosine affects attention, sleep, and alertness and makes us feel sleepy. It is a natural tiredness chemical. When adenosine goes up beyond a certain level in the body, one has trouble staying awake and alert. After we sleep, the level of adenosine comes down, which prepares us for alertness in the morning. Caffeine gives intense competition to adenosine. Caffeine does not let adenosine to bind certain receptors in the brain. Adenosine stimulates other brain chemicals like glutamate, dopamine, and serotonin. These two chemicals stimulate the brain and offer energy and pave way for a positive mood. Hence, a morning cup of coffee makes you happier and more energetic. Caffeine also prevents dopamine from getting absorbed into the body. Caffeine is that person in the party who doesn't let anyone go home and keeps enjoying the party. The disadvantage with coffee in terms of providing that energy boost is that with regular intake of coffee, our body starts getting used to that amount of caffeine level. And for the same energy boost, it asks for more and more of coffee. Caffeine is like a stimuli to the brain, and the brain absolutely understands this trick. Once it gets the amount of caffeine in 2 cups of coffee, it starts asking for the third one and then the fourth one. So, when you are seeing that your coffee intake is going up for that same level of energy boost, slowly bring it down to 3 cups of coffee and then 2 cups of coffee. And with a little bit of time, your brain will also adjust. Your brain will understand that you're not going to increase your coffee intake, and it will start providing you the same level of energy boost that it used to give in 2 cups of coffee. So, no matter what, be in that range of 100 to 250 mg of caffeine on a daily basis. Do not go up beyond 400 because then caffeine will become an addiction and your body will just get used to and will keep adding more and more, will keep asking more of it. The second tip is do not drink coffee first thing in the morning. And what's the reason for that? The reason is that caffeine alters the natural cycle of our body. The natural cycle which tells when to wake up and when to go back to sleep. Caffeine regulates the amount of cortisol that is produced by our brain early in the morning. Cortisol is a hormone that is produced when we're under a lot of stress, but It is also produced when we wake up because it gives signals to our brain for that boost that makes us wake up in the morning. Caffeine impacts cortisol or interferes with cortisol in two ways. Firstly, when we are waking up, our body tends to produce a lot of cortisol that helps us in waking up. But if we drink coffee on an empty stomach, our body starts relying on caffeine for that boost. So that natural boost of cortisol is being replaced by the artificial boost that caffeine is providing. And then our body starts getting used to that artificial stimuli. Having coffee on an empty stomach also depletes our natural tendency to feel hungry. According to coffee consumption statistics, about 64% of people prefer to drink coffee in the morning. And according to Statistics Brain, the total percentage of US coffee drinkers who have a cup of coffee within the first hour of waking up is about 68%. So, before moving on to the third point, let's take a look at the first 2 points. In the first point, we discussed that we should not increase the amount of caffeine intake beyond 400 mg a day. We should keep it between the range of 100 to 250 because then our body will get used to high amount of caffeine for the same energy level boost. The second is we should not have coffee on an empty stomach because that alters the cortisol level that is produced naturally by our body in the morning. The third point is we should have coffee at intervals. That means first cup of coffee and second cup of coffee, there should be a gap between the two. And we should also have water in between. So now the question arises as to what should be the interval between 2 cups of coffee. You have 1 cup of coffee and then after how many minutes you can have the second cup of coffee. As per the Food and Drug Administration, the effects of coffee are very strong up to 1 hour and the traces of it are there up to 4 to 6 hours. That means if you're looking for coffee for that energy boost, that increase in productivity, the effects will be there in your body until 4 to 6 hours. So you can comfortably have the second cup of coffee after that time. Please also make sure that you're having a lot of water intake in between. So have a lot of water first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, then a cup of coffee, then lots of water in that interval, and again a second cup of coffee if you want to have it after 4 to 6 hours. The reason is that caffeine is something that really dries and dehydrates our body. So for that essential hydration, our body needs extra water. Extra water intake for those people who rely on coffee to increase their productivity levels. And now let's move on to fourth one. The fourth tip is that we should not have coffee before going to sleep. One research study examined the effects of caffeine consumption 0, 3 and 6 hours before bedtime and discovered that caffeine consumption 6 hours before bedtime could shorten sleep time by 1 hour. You should not have coffee before going to sleep for a very simple reason. It interferes with the quality of the sleep. Caffeine really tampers with our sleep, and we all know how important sleep is for our everyday, normal, productive living. Sleep is something that keeps us focused, alert, productive, and happy. So, its importance cannot be undermined. And if something as such as coffee interferes with our sleep, then we should be very careful as to having coffee before bedtime. Even 4 hours before bedtime alters our quality of sleep. So be very careful when you're having coffee post evening. Well, these were the 4 tips through which you could manage your coffee intake for maximum productivity. Go for cup of coffee and see how your body reacts. Because every body is unique, the amount of reaction that you will receive from having 1 cup of coffee for that energy boost is going to be different for everyone. If your body is really asking for more coffee with time, understand that you have to limit your coffee intake. You have to keep it between 100 to 250 mg. If you're looking for other beverage alternatives, you can look for green tea, you can go for lemon tea. Coffee is definitely a great energy boosting beverage. It is a beverage that is widely used around the world. Second most beverage that is drank by people all over the world after water. But if we keep these four things in mind, for sure we will be able to utilize coffee to our advantage while also making sure that our body does not get dependent on coffee and we do not get addicted to it with time. So the first thing was we have to make sure that we're not increasing our coffee intake as our brain is asking for it. Understand that our brain will keep asking, but we do not have to fulfill that demand. The second is do not have coffee first thing in the morning, empty stomach, because it will alter the amount of cortisol that our body is producing for that energy boost. And because of that hormone, we are able to wake up naturally. So that gets replaced with an artificial stimuli that is coffee. The third is we should have at least 4 to 6 hours in between 2 cups of coffee and have lots and lots of water during that time. Obviously, your trip to the washroom might increase, but then your steps will also keep on increasing and your body will always stay hydrated. The fourth is do not have coffee before going to sleep. Research says that even if we have coffee 4 hours before bedtime, it doesn't let us sleep properly. And we all know how important sleep is. Sleep is so important for our focus levels, for our productivity levels, and for our happiness. If we keep these four things in mind, I'm pretty sure we will be able to take advantage that caffeine offers in terms of energy boost, in terms of productivity boost, while also making sure that we don't get addicted to this beverage. Because with its advantages comes its disadvantages also. In all probability, you might have seen the lineup of coffee during your commute or in your office. Drinking coffee offers various advantages like boosting memory, preventing depression, ramping of metabolism, and so on. Coffee and its primary ingredient, caffeine, acts like a performance fuel and improves focus and attention span. As per Karen Ansel, a spokesperson for the American Dietetic Association, coffee is very effective at boosting energy and concentration level. Hence, there is no denying that it does give an energy boost. Although coffee is a psychoactive drug, it is the most common psychoactive drug that we have on a regular basis. But nonetheless, it is a drug. It has its own disadvantages, which we can manage effectively using these four tips. Well, I hope you like the contents of this video. If you want to share your personal experiences of having coffee, please do in the comments below, and I will always be ready to help you and answer any of your questions.